Okay. So I just want to start this off by posing a question to y'all about what comes to your mind when you think of the word death. How does it make you feel? With death being a natural part of life, it can also be one of the most challenging things to experience. And
I
so,
think it makes people feel sad.
yeah, exactly. And so, with death being around since the beginning of life, it's hard to imagine parting ways with someone you love or someone you're close to. And that takes time to heal from that process. And so, I read an article by Caitlin Stanaway, who's a professor at the University of Washington, and she wrote an article on the stages of grief and what emotions you might feel within each stage. And so, with me having little experience with death, the times I can think back, it's just as hard to deal with it each time you experience. And so, today I like to go through the grieving process with you guys and the emotions connected to each stage. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna go to Caitlin Stanaway's analysis on the 5 stages, and with the first stage being denial, some emotions you might feel with that would be shock, being numb, and confused. And that might look like procrastination, avoidance, and also just keeping busy to where you never have to think about it. And so the next stage being anger, you might feel rage, impatience, and resentment. And so that might show through aggression or the use of drugs and alcohol. And the next stage being bargaining, you might feel some feeling of guilt, anxiety, and just shame, but that can be shown through overthinking and self-judgment. And then the stage of depression is just despair and sadness, and that could easily just come through crying and having little energy. And so with the last stage being acceptance, you might feel some validation, wisdom, and that could be shown through like being present in the moment and tolerating your emotions. And so with these 5 stages, it's not that you're going to feel these in order that they come, because that depends on the person and the experience one has with death, as well as past trauma, uh, stress, and just the environment that they're in. So now that we've touched base on the 5 stages, I kind of want to dive into the treatment that you can get for the grief to minimize those effects of the emotions. And so there's multiple ways to treat grief. And the first one I want to talk about is medication. And so the editors on SciComm have talked about being prescribed medication by a health professional, which can help you sleep and reduce anxiety, but as well as just make you feel better, but at the cost of suppressing those emotions. And ultimately, you could have interference with the acceptance of a reality. And so Kimberly Holland talked about another way, which is having counseling. And so talking to a health professional can help you find a sense of assurance. And Dakota King White talked about therapeutic methods as such as talking to family, close ones, and then finding healthy hobbies to where you're not suppressing those feelings, but you genuinely or like gradually work through it. And so now that we talked about treatments and the stages and the emotions of each, I kind of just want to recap. And so I've informed you today on the stages of grief, the emotions that come with everything, and how to treat for it. And the grieving process for each stage, it's good to be informed on it because each person's different and the effects that you may have may be different from another person. So if you understand that personally, it can help you find a different way to kind of understand yourself. And so Kimberly Holland said in her article that understanding grief can ultimately help you work towards acceptance. And that can also be a platform to where you understand yourself better. So that's it. Thank you.
Good job, Mark.
Thank you. I'm going to end the recording.
Very good.
There we go.